Hey there, fellow adventurers. Welcome back to another exciting chapter of Throne and DxD with yours truly, Leon Primal. Unfortunately, Amako isn't here this time. We've been experiencing technical difficulty with the recording for this chapter. But don't worry, he'll be back for the next one. In our last chapter, we have uncovered the truth behind Kyo's lineage. But this time, we'll be diving headfirst in his training. So grab your favorite snack and settle in your comfortable chair and get ready for an epic beyond your wild imagination. Trust me, you wouldn't want to miss a single thing. So without further ado, let's jump right into part 2 of chapter 2.5, The Watchman of Fate. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you will not miss an update. So, now let's get started. The orb loses its shine. The surrounding dimension returns back to its original state. They have kept their word to this day, and now their child takes on this responsibility without realizing it. His story is interesting, but how will his fate play out? Zelrich's word hung in the air, carrying the weight of the unknown and the promise of an adventure that beckons from the fringes of existence. With the wry smile playing at the corner of his lip, he addressed the unseen audience with a whimsical flair. Ah, but what is life without struggle? A mere existence devoid of purpose and passion. It is the trial we face and the obstacle we overcome that shapes us into who we are meant to be. As the echoes of his enigmatic musing reverberates through the cosmic chamber, Zelrich Gray's gaze shifts as if acknowledging the unspoken request for more. Oh, you want to hear more, do you? Well then, perhaps there is yet another tale to be told, another chapter of the boy, waiting to be unfolded in the records of time and space. Let's peer into my pet project, since it has been some time since I've checked on that kid. He reminds me a little bit of that Emiya boy Rin Tosaka brought around my counterpart, but a bit younger. The book swiftly flips through its pages. The orb illuminates brightly once again. The surrounding dimensions transform itself. A new scene emerged, unveiling the breathtaking landscape of mist-covered peaks and a verdant valley. The tranquil beauty of natural space enveloped the space, infusing the air with a sense of serenity and possibility. In the heart of the tranquil mountain valley, Kyo and his master, Lin Shuwen, engage in a rigorous sparring session. Their movement of a dynamic expression of ancient art of Bajin Quen. The valley nestled between the towering peaks, echoes of rhythmic cadence of their strikes and a measure of rhythmic of their footwork. Xu Wen's seasoned expertise was evident as he seamlessly weaved intricate techniques and fluid transitions into his spar with Kyo. With each move, he imparted the essence of his techniques, guiding Kyo to embody the art's raw power and precise control. As they begin their spar, the exchange with a flurry of motion, Each strike and parry executed with precision and determination. Kyo's movements were swift and agile, his strikes punctuated by controlled bursts of power, while Xu Wen's response were seamless, bent of grace and calculated force. His experience evident of every elegant movement. As this intense battle rages on in the vast valley of the Tangzin mountain. As the battle rages on, sweat glistened on the boy's brow, and the dirt beneath their feet bore the mark of their dynamic dance. The mountain valley itself seemed to respond to their exchange, with the vibrant colors of the surrounding floral providing a stark contrast to the intensity of the spar. As their sparring session in the mountain reaches its conclusion, it becomes apparent that Kyo, despite his dedication and determination, was outmatched. In a final exchange of strikes, Kyo found himself in a position of a disadvantage, unable to evade a decisive blow from his master. Bleed from all orifices, suffer, and be scattered. Woo or die, no second strike. Ah, crap! Before the boy can finish his word, getting struck in his solar plexus by a palm strike, the force of the strike sent Kyo sprawling backwards, his body hitting the rocky wall with a crackling thud. Blood spewed out of the boy's mouth and wounds. Dirt and dust were kicked around him, marking the end of their battle. While pain coursed through his body, the boy pulled himself out of the wall, kneeling on the ground, sore, battered and bruised, feeling his muscles throbbing after that dreadful strike from Master Li Shiwen, blood staining his lips, wounds visible and fresh. Have you forgotten what I have taught you? Keep your emotions in check and your mind of steel. The old man chuckled, looking at the exhausted, downed child. You senile old coot! I'm not a spirit. What would your conscience say about killing a 10-year-old? Kyo cried in mock anger, as Kyo struggled to get up, dusting off his body. I would rather you not push me to my breaking point, Garlic Gramps. You do know what Lady Nightingale would do to us if that were to happen. At that remark, Xu Wen looked like he finally croaked from old age and how pale he was. Garlic Gramps. Now that is the most bizarre thing I heard coming out of a child's mouth. My laughter vibrated throughout the empty space. Stop calling me that ridiculous name, you belligerent child, smacking his fist onto Kyo's head. I'd appreciate the training if I were you. Children these days have no respect for their elders. Whatever. But was it really necessary to hit me with your ultimate technique? I think you broke a rib. Lee heartily laughed, echoing through the training grounds. His response carried a blend of amusement and a hint of pride. Yes, it is necessary. It means you need more training. If I wanted to kill you, you would be dead where you stand. He remarked. His voice gruff, yet filled with sense of gesture. Kyo winced in pain, but still maintained a sense of humor, shot a marked smirk at his master. Well, next time, let's avoid the near-death experience, okay? I like to keep all my innards intact. Xu Wen chuckled, his demeanor shift to a more serious tone. Jokes aside, Yo, you showed great resilience today. Every defeat is a step forward towards improvement. Remember that in the journey of martial arts, there's always room for growth. Kiyohime, who has been watching the spar from a distance, hurried over to Kiyo. Concern etched across her face. She inspected his injury with a gentle touch. Lord Shuen, you really went out this time, she scolded him. Shuen merely grunted in response, a proud grin placed upon his lips. The lad needs to toughen up. Life doesn't spare you just because you're young. That will be all for today. Head back and rest up. While exiting the mountain on their way back to Kiyo's place, the young boy was being carried on Kiyohime's back. Ark, I need one of those healing potions. The pain is too unbearable. The small fairy appeared and handed a red vial to the poor boy. The child chugged down the elixir and let out a sign of respite. Lord Hawkins, wouldn't it be wise to go check up on Akapus, Nightingale, and Nemo Nurse? Concerned the young girl. K-I-O. Ki-O. Not Hawkins, corrected the noble lady. Oh, Lord Hawkins, you do love your jokes. Kiyo's face slightly turned pale, sweat dripping from his forehead, feeling a terrifying energy surrounding the girl. I would rather avoid Lady Nightingale when I'm wounded. She is way too scary when she goes at full nurse, Kiyo added, shuddering at the thoughts of facing Nightingale's hardcore medical care. Kiyohime feigned innocence. Her eyes sparkled with mischief. Oh, but I thought you enjoyed her company. After all, she's just trying to keep you stay in one piece. You should be grateful. Kiyo sarcastically retorts. Easy for you to say. You're not the one getting scolded for every single scrape and bruise. Kiyohime giggled wholeheartedly. It is so adorable how your body trembles in fear. Kiyo growling, slightly irritated. I am not adorable. I am manly. Giggling under her breath. As I said, adorable. Here we are. Home sweet home. They have reached a small villa near a lake. The young lady placed the boy down on a chair. Please relax, Lord Hawkins. I'll prepare your lunch. While she walks into the house humming a sweet tune. Kiyo signs in relief, muttering to himself, finally, she is gone. Seizing the moment, he jumped back onto his feet, gripping his silver cane. Not too far from his living quarters, he strolled to a lone hill crowned with a single tree. Finding solace beneath its branches, Kiyo sat down, adopting a meditative pose. He focused his thought, and a subtle red glow enveloped his body. Suddenly, a metallic ringing sound echoed in his mind. Ding dong ding. As a visual display materialized in his head, Ark announced the echoes through the serene surrounding. Congrats, Kiyo. You have completed today's daily missions. A playful tone laced her words, accompanied by a soft applause in her hands. The holographic screen unfolded, revealing Kyo's daily accomplishments in digital letters. Daily missions, warm-ups, 100%. Training, 100%. Academics, 100%. Concentration broken. Kyo made an irritable face. Thank you, Ark, he said sarcastically. Oh my. Were you doing something important? She said with a mischievous grin. Just give me the reward. A ball of light appeared in the boy's hand. The light dies down, revealing a medallion. With a grin, all right, boy. This is where phase 2 begins. Do not disappoint me. Everything I have done cannot be in vain. Prepare for hell. Reclining back into his seat. That's strange. This is not a potion. This time. What is it? The fairy called up another display on the screen, appraising the mysterious item. Proof of potential. Only those who can prove themselves worthy by collecting these artifacts can unlock the gates to the Dead Man's Spire and ascends its zenith in pursuit of power sealed within. Kyo's face lit up with excitement at the prospect. Power, he exclaimed. His wide grin reflects the thrills of the unknown. The fairy, equally enthusiastic, chimed with enthusiasm. Ooh, sounds exciting. Let's go! Waka waka. Her words filled with an infectious energy of adventure. However, Kyo remained in deep contemplation. It's tempting to explore the unknown and gain treasure, but what information do you have on it, Ark? Awkwardly, Ox spoke out. I don't have any info on this dungeon. What? The boy said deadpanned. I'm just here to support her. There's still a lot of things that I don't know about the guideline. Scratching his head in an irritated way. Fine, we'll deal with this later. Kyo plopped back down on the floor. He shifted his focus, delving into a state of deep meditation. His surroundings melted away as he sought to connect with the power deep within. Memories of his family flooded in his mind. Surrounded in darkness, the boy began to emit a soft glow, but this time something different occurred. Red crystals spouted from his hands. They emerged like shards of ruby, forming a lattice around him. In the center of him all, a large crystal began to take shape, radiating a pulsing crimson light. A brilliance intensified with each passing moment, reflecting the immense potential within Kyo. But a mysterious figure had silently approached behind him. Cloaked in ethereal aura, the man observed the unfolding manifestation. With a calm and steady presence, he gently placed his hand on the boy's shoulder, attempting to draw his attention. The unexpected sensation shocked the boy, breaking his intense focus. The red crystal that he just created cracked and fractured, releasing a surge of volatile energy. The eruption was both dazzling and violent, creating a radiant explosion that sent Kyo and the mysterious figure tumbling down the hill. Kyo laid on his back on the foot of the hill. A puff of smoke escaping his lips. The unexpected explosion left him disoriented and surprised. What happened? Amidst the lingering smoke, a hearty laughter echoed. Marvelous. I never seen anyone use power like that before. Startled, Kyo turned towards the direction of the booming voice, pinpointing the source of the laughter. Through the dispersing smoke, the figure of a man gradually emerged. He was clad in a white cloak, adorned with armor and that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. The man's eyes sparkled with an amusement as he looked at Kyo. Who are you? Kyo asked, rubbing his head as he tried to regain his bearings. The cloaked man continued to chuckle, his laughter carrying a mysterious air. Apologies for the sudden appearance. My name is, well, just call me Mysterious Argos T. Kyo raised his eyebrow, a hint of confusion on his face. Mysterious Argo T? He replied, trying to make sense of the enigmatic name. He maintained his enthusiastic look, his eyes glinting with a knowing spark. Yes, now that introductions are over, he lifted Kyo under his arms. Now, why don't we all go on an adventure? Shocked the boy. The man looked at the fairy. When their eyes met, an impish smile grew on the fairy's face. She pulled out the metal, activating it, and a large gate appeared before them. Oi, wait a minute. This is a horrible idea. We have no idea what's in there, Kyo exclaimed, his voice filled with concern. He, seemingly undeterred, grinned and retorted, That's the best part of an adventure. Without waiting for further protest, he leaped through the gate. As the trio adjusted to their new surroundings, the room revealed more of its feature. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and the air carried a faint scent of magic. Before they could explore further, piles of wine bottles scattered around, and at the center laid a girl, surrounded by an intoxicating atmosphere. Looking at the trio with starry eyes and a wide grin, welcome to the party. She waved her hand dramatically, causing the air to shimmer with an invisible intoxication. The room seemed to sway as if caught in the embrace of the girl's inebriated charms. The scent of the wine permeated the air, and the wine bottles around her seemed to multiply magically. Now let's celebrate your arrival properly. Here, have a sip. She handed them a bottle, seemingly materializing out of thin air. Kyo hesitated, holding the bottle in his hand. Took a swig of it. The tang of the liquid burned his throat. The sour taste and pungent aroma filled his senses. His eyes swelled with tears. What the? It's vinegar. The girl giggled in delight. Her eyes twinkled with mischief. Gotcha. Now, let me introduce myself properly. I am Bell, a guide of this dreadful dungeon. I've been waiting for you, little Kyo. As they walked down the corridor from the safe room, Bell explained the particularities of the dead man's spire with an air of theatrics. The dimly lit passage seemed to respond to her presence. Shadows danced along the walls as she spoke. Her voice, though light-hearted, carries an air of mystery. This dreadful dungeon tower, little Kyo, holds secrets untold, challenges unmet, and wonders unseen. It has been waiting for someone like you, a traveler of fate, to unravel its power. Kyo, still recovering from the taste of vinegar, Argo T, who wore an amusing expression. What exactly are we supposed to do here, Fabel? The boy said in a skeptic tone. She twirled a standing of her Gothic Lolita attire, her eyes gleaming. Ah, the Dead Man's Spire is a place of survival, where the fabric of reality intertwines with the unexpected. Your goal, my dear Kyo, is to reach the top and defeat the God King. The God King? A mix of curiosity and apprehension crossed the boy's features. T, still with a grin on his face, chimed in. Sounds like a grand adventure, doesn't it? Unlocking forgotten treasure, defeating a God King. What more could you ask for? Fabel started to chuckle. What more indeed? Continuing her sinister chuckle, her eyes glinting mysteriously, she snapped her finger. The ground beneath them, without warning, opens up, swallowing the duo into an unexpected abyss. The sensation of free fall was brief but disorienting. When Kyo and T regained their bearings, they found themselves in an entirely different environment. A lush forest, green and trees as far as the eye can see. Kyo and T began to trek through the new area. Damn it! Tripping as he makes his way through the forest. Well, Kyo, I think this is a very interesting dungeon, I must say. T exclaimed after he cut the roots Kyo had around his ankle. Why the heck is there a forest inside a dungeon? I hate this place, Kyo yelled out, frustrated by his predicament. Kyo glanced back at him in worry. We are in a dimensional dungeon that we entered from your mysterious system, he explained dryly, while moving over to help Kyo back on his feet. Of course there is going to be some weird stuff happening. A sensation creeps along Kyo's back. Well, hello again, little Kyo. How's your dungeon crawling? Fabel exclaimed with the utmost interest. What the heck, Fabel? I thought you were supposed to be a guide, not to wander off and come back whenever you feel like to. Kyo states, internally worried of her, as if it was even her name's presence. Her body, no. Her presence brought a cryptic feeling to those around her, like she was not welcome anywhere. Oh, cry me a river. I am not your babysitter, but I will give you some more help. A brief explanation. Her smug smile and her starry eye tried to look enduring made the boy recoil away. First, blah blah blah, dungeon. Blah 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 blah, make you stronger. And finally, blah blah blah, unalive yourself. Blah blah. Unalive myself. The boy shocked by the friendly declaration. What do you mean? I didn't say that. She looked confused, but that makes her seem more untrustworthy. The stench of alcohol that permeates was the only confirmation he needs. Here you go. A nice metal pipe for you to unalive your enemies. Before you say that this is weak, a modern mage should be able to turn anything into a weapon. Actually, I remember hearing a story about a certain redhead boy that used one during his adventures, if you're interested. He grabbed the pipe from her hand, even more confused at her intentions. No, I'm fine without an explanation. We should get going now, so buzz off. Her displeasure was palpable as he turned away. Who are you talking to? T states, as Kyo turns back to his companion. Kyo shows a sign of confusion. Fable? Remember? She was right that... Huh? As he turns back towards the girl, he noticed that the mysterious girl has disappeared with nothing, not even a wisp of alcohol left in her wake. As the trio once again whip around to see a group of blue, malformed-looking creatures with red eyes and a grotesque nose, scrawny and distorted maw, their gaze piercing into Kyo as it roars, spittle flying like bullets onto the forest floor, a menacing aura encapsulating the area. Damn, I feel like I'm gonna get whiplash if I keep turning my head like this. Also, I'm kind of under and overwhelming. Says the boy. Wow, these things are ugly, and I mean really ugly. Aren't they supposed to be green? This is just fucking ridiculous. Ark laughed hysterically. Hey, language, the boy told the little fairy hovering around him. Enough racism. And get your head in the game. This isn't time for a chit-chat. To fight, he yells out. Kyo lifts the pipe over his shoulder to prepare for the onslaught. The forest around them became a chaotic battlefield. As the creatures charge, their distorted forms closing in on the trio. Kyo, with a stern expression, states, I won't help you in any battle, Kyo. You need to prove your strength and face these challenges on your own. Undeterred, Kyo charges into the fray, swinging the metal pipe with determination. The creatures surround him, their distorted form closing in. Kyo fights with everything he has, dodging attacks, parrying with the pipe, and delivering precise strikes to these monsters. The battle is intense, and the force echoes with the clang of the metal against their bodies. Kyo fights with a tenacity born out of necessity. The creatures, however, prove to be formidable opponents. Each strike demanded both skill and resilience, all what he had learned for the past 2 years he has been training. After a stupendous effort, Kyo emerged victorious. The creature lay defeated, dropping a few potions, a dagger, and various materials, bones, fangs, and claws. Kyo's breathing heavily, tending to his wounds. T, acknowledging Kyo's achievements, finally breaking his silence. You handled that well. It seems you've grown stronger. Make sure you gather those materials. They might come in handy later. As Ark flies closer to inspect the monster's body, a sound went off in her head. Ooh, oh, this is nice. Kyo, my analysis program has been upgraded. Kyo still catching his breath. Upgraded? What do you mean? Ark grins. It means I could provide you with more detailed information about anything. It's a significant enhancement to our capabilities. T interjects. That could be useful. Knowing your enemy is a key to survival, especially in a dungeon like this one. Kyo nodded, realizing the value of having an improved analysis tool. Alright, Ark, let's put that upgrade to good use. Anything specific you found in your analysis of the creatures? Ark scanned the fallen monsters and projected the holographic in the air. Goblin. Deathless. Strength E. Luck E. Magic Energy F. Agility E. Endurance C. Ark tells the details to Kyo, with a questioning look on his brow. Deathless? What's that? The fairy could not say a thing, for that term is unfamiliar to her. The blond man interjects. By the phrase alone, it sounds like something akin to immortality. But by the looks of these goblins, that doesn't seem to be the case. As he examines the corpse, Kyo and Ark converse among themselves. What are these potions and bones used for? Ark responds. The potions seem to contain a concoction of enhanced physical strength. You could use them to boost your combat capabilities when needed. As for the bones, claws, and fangs, can be utilized for weapon enhancement. You'll be able to improve your weapons with these materials and make them stronger. And what of the dagger? Anything special about it? The boy asked. The fairy perplexed. It's nothing extraordinary, but it is described as forged in the fire of a forgotten realm. The steel dagger bears the weight of countless battles. Belonging to a woman named Iseline. As Ark finished her explanation, a peculiar phenomenon occurred. Lights emanate from the goblin corpses, shooting up in the air and flying in a direction. T noticed the anomaly and notifying the boy. Looks like there's more to the dungeon than meets the eye. The direction that the lights is heading might lead us to something significant. We must follow it. They make their way deeper into the forest, led by T. Damn it, I lost him. He scratched in the back of his head in frustration. The forest, with its twisted pathways and dense vegetation, seemed to have swallowed the elusive light. Kyo, on the other hand, Kyo, relying on his heightened senses, concentrates. I could still sense them, he said, a determined look on his face. We're on the right path. T, intrigued by Kyo's skill, nodded in agreement. The blind boy takes the lead, navigating the forest with caution. The air became charged with an otherworldly energy as they pressed on, following the unseen trail. After what feels like an eternity, they emerge into a clearing. The residual lights converged on a massive tree in the center of a wide open space. T marveled at the sight. Well, I'll be damned. This must be the heart of the forest. T suddenly grabbed the boy by his collar, pulled him back just in time. Echoed through the clearing, and a creature dive bombs off the tree, crashing right where Kyo had been standing. What's that? The boy said, bewildered. It's a hobgoblin, a stronger variation of the monster that you fought earlier. The creature makes a dash towards Kyo. The boy, relying on his heightened senses, readies his weapon. the steel pipe in one hand and the dagger in the other. The hobgoblin lunges forward with a surprising speed, its claws flashing through the air. As the creature attempted a swiping strike, Keo counters with the pipe, deflecting blow and creating an opening. Wielding the dagger, he counters a swift series of strikes aiming at the hobgoblin's vital points. The monster, although formidable, defends itself from the attacks. Undeterred, Keo shifts tactics. With a quick twirl of the pipe, he aimed a precise strike at the hobgoblin's kneecap. Its knee cracked, bones protruding outward. The creature staggered in pain. A pain growl escaped its monstrous maw. Seizing the opportunity, Keo pressed onward, delivering a relentless barrage of attacks. However, the monster, ever resilient, managed to counter Keo's assaults. It retaliated with a powerful swipe, landing a few hits on Keo. The blind boy, although momentarily stunned, quickly regained his composure. The skirmish between Keo and the hobgoblin continued, the two locked in a close quarter combat of will. The boy's senses allowed him to anticipate the creature's movement, but the hobgoblin's sheer strength and durability possessed a formidable challenge. The intense exchange went on for a while with Keo's pushing to his limits. Hobgoblin, sensing the ebb and the flow of battle, decides to retreat back to the tree. As the goblin retreats, the force seems to come alive with a malevolent energy. Goblins emerge from the shadows, attempting to ambush the boy. Their crude weapons gleam with a faint glow of the clearing as they come close to Keo. Surrounded by the nimble goblin horde, expertly wielding his weapons, the pipe and the dagger dancing through the air, he fended them off. The force echoed with a clash of steel and the guttural cries of goblins. Meanwhile, in the safety of the massive tree, the hobgoblin observed Keo from afar, analyzing the boy's movement. It recognized a formidable opponent. However, its attention soon shifted to the group of residual lights emanating from the defeated goblins. A sinister grin crept along the hobgoblin's face as it focused on the collection of ethereal glows. He, standing at the distance, felt an uneasy vibe in the air. Sensing the impending danger, he turned to Ark. "Hey, little fairy, analyze those lights. I got a bad feeling about this." Ark, her visual display flickering with urgency, quickly assessed the situation. "Those lights are souls, T. They're essence of the defeated creatures." T's eyes widened. Realizing the significance of the situation, he understood the hobgoblin's cunning plan. "Be careful." Keo finished off the last goblins with a decisive strike, shifted his focus on the airborne goblin. With a despite howl, the hobgoblin leaped in the air. It opened its grotesque maw, swallowing the souls. The forest trembled as the hobgoblin underwent its transformation while descending back to the ground. The energy infused with the goblin with a newfound power. Its muscles bulged and its eyes gleamed with a malevolent glow. The once formidable opponent had now become a monstrous force. This thing's very existence sent dread throughout the boy's body. The forest trembled as the empowered hobgoblin lunges at Keo with ferocity. It claws through the air with malevolent force. striking Kyo with an unrelenting blow. The boy fought valiantly, but the sheer strength of the hobgoblin overwhelmed him. With a brutal swipe, the hobgoblin knocked Kyo through the dense foliage of the forest, and the impact sent him crashing into the trees. He found himself buried under the debris. Pain coursed through his body amidst the darkness and disarray. Memories of a painful past surged within Kyo consciousness, the echoes of a lost home, the anguish of separation, and the determination of to survive against all odds fueled the fire within him. Kyo gritted his teeth. "I will not die here," he yelled out at the top of his voice. With gritted teeth, Kyo vowed that this time he will not succumb to despair. He will continue to move forward. Back at the tree, the hobgoblin attacks T violently. He dodged with the speed of an experienced fighter. In a swift movement, T saw an opening. With great precision, he struck the monster's chest, sending it hurtling towards the massive trunk of the tree. The impact resonated with a sickening thud, and the hobgoblin, momentarily stunned, struggled to regain his composure. But for a moment, T clenched his arms, in his other hand, as if he was full of regret. Seizing the opportunity, T yelled out to Kyo, "Kyo, this is your moment. You have a choice to make. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. It all depends on you alone." Summoning every ounce of willpower, Kyo pushed himself out of the debris. "Arc, the strength potions, now," he commanded, his voice resolute. The fairy swiftly responded, producing the vials of strength-enhancing elixirs. Without hesitation, Kyo consumed them all. The potent liquid coursed through his veins, revitalizing his battered body. Strength, F2E. He sprints back towards the battle, noticing the hobgoblin coming out of the tree and priming the pipe in his hand. Aura surrounds his body, flowing through his arms into the pipe. The red crystal materialized once again, turning it into a spear. With all his might, he threw his weapon. Soaring through the air like a comet, it struck the hobgoblin with a resounding impact, piercing through its side and impaling itself against the ancient trunk. The creature roared in agony, its struggle intensified by the unexpected assault. Seizing the opportunity, Kyo, with the dagger in hand, rushed towards the immobilized enemy. The blade, too, now enveloped in the same aura, manifestation of Kyo's will. As he closed into the hobgoblin, a sense of determination radiated from him, a palpable aura to survive. The battle between Kyo and the hobgoblin intensified, each clash resonating through the forest. He observed the unfolding spectacle, noticing something unusual about Kyo's demeanor. There was a subtle, unsettling smile on the boy's face, a glint of something unnatural. He couldn't help but feeling a twinge of uncertainty, a realization that there was more to Kyo than being an ordinary child. The battle reached the climax as Kyo, fueled by will, launched a series of swift and calculated strikes at the hobgoblin's vital points. His dagger aglowed with his aura, cutting through the air, breaking the sound barrier. However, the creature, fueled by its unnatural power, showed no signs of slowing down. Its movements were fluid, almost invisible. A sudden and unexpected turn, the hobgoblin arms moved with speed that defies Keo's senses. The young boy, caught off guard by the supernatural agility of its foe, found him unable to evade the monster's relentless assault. The creature's limbs closed in like a vice, ensnaring Keo in a crushing grip, and filled with the sound of strained breathing and a tightening of muscles as the hobgoblin's apprised pressure, squeezing Keo's small frame. Pain surged throughout the boy's body, every fiber of his being protest against the merciless force crushing him. The forest, once echoed with clash of steel, now bore witness to a desperate struggle for survival. As the hobgoblin revealed in its perceived triumph, Keo's scream pierced the air. The creature, driven by a sadistic euphoria, relished in the suffering it inflicted upon the weakened child, just as the hobgoblin believed it had secured its victory. An eruption of crystal shards and flames shattered the triumphant moment. The creature staggered back, bewildered as if reality itself betrayed its victory. The hobgoblin struggles to comprehend its unexpected turn of events. Keo, battered and burned, rushed at the monster, his body cries in pain with every step. With a burst of energy, the boy dashed towards the creature's chest. Remnants of aura crystal swirled behind him. Before the crystal could fully materialize, Keo disrupted their foundation, triggering a cascade of explosions that enveloped both him and the goblin. The force trembled with the explosive chain reaction, propelling the duo both forward. Impact! Crashing into the tree with an earth-shaking crash. The hobgoblin, caught off guard, weakened by the explosion, found itself impaled by the very pipe Keo had thrown earlier, inches away from the boy's face. The hobgoblin vanished without a trace. The fools that were collected shot up into the sky and disappeared. Though the battle has won, though battered and worn, he stood triumphant amidst the smoke. Impressive. Only after 2 years of training, he's gotten this strong. Like father, like son. Now don't break him too much, Fable. Floor cleared. In the aftermath of a sword materialized where the once opposing hobgoblin had stood, a stark contrast of the monsters present that had dominated the forest. Keo, catching his breath, grabbed the newly materialized sword. It felt calming in his grasp, proof of his survival once again. A familiar voice speaks with otherworldly nature. Well, well, Keo, she began, her tone carrying a playful cadence. I must say, you managed to survive quite admirably in this treacherous floor. I didn't expect you to be quite so resilient. Bravo on your surviving, I suppose. But you have a long climb ahead of you to reach the top. Hope you could keep up. Her tone held a hint of condescension, making it clear that in her eyes, Keo's accomplishments were noteworthy, albeit accompanied by a touch of sardonic amusement. She continued clapping, echoing through the forest. I'd appreciate the praise if it didn't come with the strings, he replied with a touch of sarcasm. Despite the acknowledgement of his survival, the unpleasantness of Fabel's words didn't escape him. With a nonchalant shrug, he struggled to limp away, but she got right into his face, pushing him down to the ground and pressing her foot upon his chest. Don't let this victory get to your head. This was the weakest boss here. Let me explain. It's like this, a pecking order of sorts. There is you, the dirt, the worms, your useless friend, the God King, and yours truly. So you better get stronger, or you'll be fucked. As she continued to grind her foot down on the boy, T clutched the little girl by her collar, lifting her up in the air. That's enough, little one. He did a good job in clearing the floor, and you know it. He asserted, his voice firm. Fable suspended in the air by T's grasp, shot a deadly glare before grinning mischievously. Very well. Let's call it a day then. But remember, Kyo, the challenges ahead will only get much more difficult. Do not disappoint. As Fable vanishes in a burst of light, Kyo, T, and Ark found themselves back in the throne. I do not like her. Not one bit. Not at all. The boy grunted. T chuckled in agreement. A knowing glint in his eyes. She is an enigma, for sure. She brings a mix of chaos and amusement. You cannot predict what she will do next. She likes playing a game with rules that she only knows. Ark perched herself on top of Kyo's head. She's bad news, that's for sure. You have to keep your guard up. As they continued to talk to one another, the air around T shifted. Kyo, tell me, how did it feel to unalive those creatures in that place? T's questions hung in the air, carrying an undercurrent of something deeper. Kyo, caught off guard by the sudden shift of the conversation, furrowed his brows in thought. At first it felt disturbing. He began, his voice carried a touch of uncertainty. I mean, I knew there were monsters, part of the dungeon, but it felt real. Each of them had their own presence, their own existence. He nodded, a somber acknowledgement in his eyes. I understand. It's not easy. Especially when you're faced with creatures that seem sentient, even if they are not. A burden placed upon you. T gaze softened, a subtle relief in his eyes. It's okay to feel that way, Kyo. Defeating those creatures doesn't make you heartless. It's a part of survival. To kill or be killed. A warrior's burden. His voice filled with sorrow. Kyo absorbed T's words, nodding slowly. Yeah, I understand. I need to be stronger. I don't want to feel helpless. I want to protect those who can't protect themselves. T cracked a smile, hitting Kyo in the back. A noble goal. A noble indeed. Never forget that feeling, Kyo. I'm certain that you will make it a fine warrior in the future. I won't, the boy said in gusto. While continuing, something made Kyo's hair stand on end. Before he turned his head, he was pulled back by his shirt. An imposing figure hauled him along. No, Nightingale! Kyo stammered, as he was being hauled away by the nurse. I've heard that you've been pushing yourself a little too hard, Kyo. Her eyes turned red in anger that could be felt by everyone. Oh, hold on a minute, head nurse. I can explain, he said, trying to communicate with her, but she refused to listen. No excuses. We're going to your house for immediate medical attention. Kyo was taken away screaming. All's well that ends well, I guess. Kyo questioned himself. T questioned himself after what he just witnessed. You think so? Said Kyohime, standing behind him, slowly showing a smile that is threatening beyond all levels. She folds her fan. Burn, she says terrifyingly. Flames burst out of her mouth. T runs with all his might, away from the raging fire. How dare you kidnap Lord Akins? You shall be punished. She chased him through the meadow. Theo and Nightingale are back at his villa. The nurse straps the boy to the bed and prepares to heal him. Really, head nurse, I am fine. There's no need to go this extreme. The boy pleads the nurse to let him go. Nonsense. I've warned you many times to not about overexerting yourself. And what do I find? You, bruised all over. And what's this? A giant handprint? For God's sake, you're still a child. She said in anger. Kyo responds, full of sorrow. I'm sorry, Nightingale. I just... Placing her finger on his lips. She interjects. I know. Just promise me. Just promise that you won't get yourself killed. I promise, he said. As they continue with the treatment, a notion of brilliance came to Ark. He got close to Nightingale and initiated a scan without anyone's awareness. She was astonished by what she discovered. Nightingale. Human. Strength unknown. Lock unknown. Magic energy unknown. Agility unknown. Endurance unknown. Spirit is restricted. What the? This doesn't make any sense. Maybe the further up we go, the more of the program I unlocked, more of the guideline I can unlock. What is the true purpose of the dead man's spire? She ponders. The orb loses its shine one last time. The surrounding dimension returns back to its original state. Are you satisfied? Did that quench your curiosity? The boy has a long, treacherous journey ahead of him, and he needs to give everything he has to survive his home world. Well, my dear spectators, with this I say goodbye. Closing his book, the old man prepares to rest. Suddenly, a voice screeched out, Hey, old man, I'm bored. Let's do something fun. An annoyed sigh. God help me. I told you not to leave your tower, Fable. He scolded her, clearly annoyed by her impromptu appearance. She appeared behind Zelrich with a sullen face. Little Kyo hasn't visited me since he completed the tower, Zelrich. Zelrich sighed, knowing that dealing with Fable's whims could be a challenge. Fine, for my sake. Go back to the tower and I'll send you something interesting your way later. I'm a bit busy now. She agreed reluctantly, but couldn't resist parting comment. You know, Kyo will never awaken his true potential unless he does what needs to be done. Just a reminder, old man, sneered the girl. Don't waste your breath and be gone. She disappears back in the void. The old man lays back in his throne, staring off into the empty void. One word escaping his lips. Survive. Chapter end. Well, everyone, thank you for staying with another chapter. I'd like to thank another John for helping me with this chapter. If you like the story, please comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.